Oh, wrestling stuff. I love it. My office is filled to the brim with garbage featuring the likes of Jushin Thunder Liger, Bret the Hitman Hart, Andy Kaufman. There have been some great releases over the years, such as classic shirts like the NWO or Austin 316. You got replica belts, you have masks, and so much more. And there's been some weird stuff too, like waffle makers, crock pots, garden gnomes. Wow, there's actually way more bizarre stuff than I anticipated. Well, you know what that means. I'm Senior Siete for 7 Wrestling. Let's take a look at 7 weird wrestling toys and merchandise. Oh, and speaking of merchandise, now, before we get into this, we appreciate your support, so if you enjoy this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leg drop that notification bell. Number 1. Grill Envy. If you were a college student or a bachelor in the 90s, you simply could not exist without the George Foreman lean, mean, fat grilling machine. This baby would sit on your kitchen counter and cook your steaks, your chicken, your fish, your vegetable, even crispy paninis. It slices, it dices, it satisfies, it gratifies. Okay, all that aside, this baby sold over 100 million units worldwide. And while actual revenue numbers aren't available, it's believed that George Foreman has pocketed a whopping $200 million from this endorsement, much more than he ever earned during his legendary boxing career. And look at how happy he looks. I would be that happy too with that kind of money. Now, you probably know this fella. He's the 2-time WWE Hall of Famer and formerly beloved professional wrestler Hulk Hogan. Hulkster tells a lot of stories. He once wrestled 400 days a year because of switching time zones. Andre the Giant died a few days after his legendary body slam at WrestleMania 3. He was once asked to play bass for Metallica. And how true are these stories? Not very. No. Or at all, actually. What is mind-blowing, if you think about it, is that Hulk Hogan has amazing, real, legitimate stories. He was one of the most famous humans in the United States in the 80s. He probably holds legitimate box office and merchandise selling records, but no, he's gotta be all, Steve Jobs stole the iPod from me, brother. Sorry, back on topic. To hear the Hulkster tell the story, he was given the opportunity to endorse the Foreman grill first, but he missed the call because he was dropping his kids off at school that day. Brooke gets him in all kinds of trouble. Desperate to chase that novelty kitchenware bag, Hogan would release the Hulk Hogan Thunder Mixer, which was less of a blender and more of like a stir. Probably get the same result just from swirling it in your hand. Needless to say, this did not set the world on fire. Not to be deterred, Hogan would endorse the Hulk Hogan Ultimate Grill, which actually would set the world on fire. This not-so-subtle knockoff of the former grill was recalled due to safety concerns. The recall was initiated by QVC Incorporated and TriStar Products Incorporated after reports indicated that cooking oils or sprays applied to the grill's cooking plates could cause the oil to ignite and flare up. This design flaw led to 5 incidents, including 2 reports of minor burns. Fortunately, the grill wasn't a great seller anyways, much like Hogan himself. Now that's a minor burn. Number 2. Family Ties. Kids love gross things. When I was a kid, a million years ago, Mad Balls were all the rage. I was a slobulous guy myself. We had the Masters of the Universe Evil Horde slime pit with very specific instructions to keep Moss Man and Grizzlor away from it, as it would be impossible to get the slime off of them. Garbage Pail Kids, I had a very weak stomach as a kid, and the first time I saw Messy Tessie, I puked my guts out. Honestly, I'm not feeling so great about it right now either. Fortunately or unfortunately, this trend continues today with lines like Fugglers, the That's Gross Science Lab, and Mega Gross Minis. Wrestling toys have embraced this trend from time to time. You had the WCW Gross Out figures that featured an eye-popping Sting and a vein and brain-popping Sid. That brain-popping Sid is probably to show Scott Hall and Kevin Nash that Sid's twice the man as them with half the brain. No, really, he actually said that in an interview. WWE had their line of figures known as Maximum Sweat that would actually discharge water so it seemed like they were sweating. If you're a toy executive and the playtest group is complaining that the toys aren't sweaty enough, don't go to the drawing board with that idea. Get those kids some psychological help. Those toys were also notable for how freakishly jacked they were, as in pre-wellness policy jacked, and that's a look that works for someone like Ken Shamrock, but less so for someone like the Road Dogg, who was basically known for wrestling in his jammies. But alas, wrestling fans, the grossest figure of all time has to be this Adrenaline 2-pack that featured Katie Lee Burchill and her brother Paul. Come on, Siete, this looks innocent enough, doesn't it? Pair of siblings who just hope to take over the world of wrestling, brother and sister who seemingly can't stop touching one another, their interviews filled to the brim with thinly veiled sexual innuendo, the duo always fawning over each other. Oh, there it is. Oh, this was a Vince gimmick, right? Yeah, okay, thought so. Same Vince McMahon who wanted Ken Shamrock to be in a relationship with his sister Ryan. Same Vince who made it a storyline that Mark Henry was having an affair with his sister. Same Vince who wanted to be revealed as the father of his daughter's child, and when she turned that down, he pitched her brother Shane as the father. Ha ha ha, Vincest at its finest. Yeah, okay, you got me. This is the grossest WWE toy of all time. Number 3, Weird AF. There have been a lot of really terrible wrestling shirts over the years. In fact, that was one of our very first lists. Let's see, you've got this Val Venus monstrosity. Remember Big Johnson shirts? We weren't allowed to wear them in school. Could you imagine if I rolled into junior high school wearing this? You've got this super subtle Carlito shirt. There's the famous Sin Cara shirt that seemed to be showing off more than it should, if you catch my drift. We got this one for China. AJ Styles stealing a page from the Val Venus handbook. We still aren't sure why the Jomo Sapiens are going to eat our lunch. APA has got some explaining to do with this one. Wannabe from Chris Jericho. I'm sorry, is this a Spice Girls thing? You've got Rikishi's posterior. You got this gem. But those are all old examples. Wrestling merchandise is way more savvy now. Like when Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston wrecked the Elite's trailer on an episode of AEW Dynamite, the segment ended with Moxley saying, "Bitch AF." And apparently, that was catchy enough to place on a t-shirt, which is kind of weird out of context. I mean, by itself, it's almost like, I don't know, Moxley saying that he himself is bitch AF? OMG. Oh well. Still better than this one. Number 4, Sunny Shots. Now, you probably know this woman. She's generally credited with being the first WWE diva. She's a WWE Hall of Famer. She's Tammy Sunny Sitch. She was easily the most popular woman in wrestling for a few years. She was even the most downloaded celebrity on AOL in the year 1996. Now, not wrestling celebrity, mind you. I'm talking celebrity. And you gotta know, Dusk Till Dawn came out in 1996, and Salma Hayek was in it, and she was totally a celebrity. Wow, we're way off topic. Sunny's fall from the top of the industry to where she currently resides in prison has been well documented, but as she made her way from the bright lights of the biggest pro wrestling organization in the world to the Lowell Correctional Institute in Florida, there were a few interesting stops along the way. This is one of them. Now, getting your photo taken with your favorite sports entertainer is a tradition that probably dates back to the invention of the Polaroid instant camera. Practice usually takes place at an independent show where a talent has a table where they sell t-shirts, 8x10s, various whatnot, and for a price, you can have your photo taken with that star. Well, Tammy, being the innovator that she is, took this a bit further. At the 2013 Legends of the Ring convention, she made this offer to fans. Hey Sunny fans, this is your chance to get under the covers with me at the Legends of the Ring convention. 10/5/13, I'll be offering special photo ops, your choice. For $50, you get to have your photo taken lying next to me in bed, And for $75, you can have your photo taken spooning or with me lying my head on your chest. Was I your teenage crush? Now is your chance to make that dream a reality. So, this is a weird list to make. I don't want to judge people based on what they spend their money on. If it puts a smile on your face, hey, I say go for it. I'm not here to yuck anybody else's yum, but I will yikes it. And yikes. I mean, look at this guy. He looks miserable. Come on. You're in bed with your crush. Work the gimmick, brother. I don't know. Perhaps I'm thinking of this the wrong way. Maybe it'd be worth it if I could get her to act like she's totally exhausted. Or I don't know, if I was able to dress like Shawn Michaels. Number 5. Last ever maybe. Oh, behold the very first Stone Cold Steve Austin action figure. Looks terrible, doesn't it? Yes, of course it does. This was in the early days of Jakks Pacific owning the WWE license. They made a few questionable choices. Here's an example of the early Bret Hart figure, wearing his trademark wraparound sunglasses. Stuff of nightmares, right? Well, it gets worse. When it was time to create a head without the sunglasses, they didn't make a new head. They just kind of scraped the glasses off the old one and carved in some weirdo eyes. Forget Goldberg, Bret. Jakks deserves your eternal hatred. Sorry, back to old Stone Cold here. Steve was a pretty basic guy back in 1997. Bald, goatee, black boots, black tights, so in that sense, they nailed it, I guess. But, technology's improved. Surely the last Steve Austin figure Jakks would produce would be much better, right? And here we go. The 2004 Ruthless Aggression Stone Cold Steve Austin figure with his trademark Stunner Incorporated t-shirt. Stunner Incorporated. Wow. Guess they all can't be winners. But yeah, this one is pretty good. Maybe not good. Better than that one. The sticker right here on the package says it's the last Stone Cold Steve Austin figure, which is odd because Jakks would continue to have the WWE license for another 5 years through 2009. But it says right on the sticker here that it's a limited run and potentially his last ever action figure. Goodness, I better go out and buy 20 right now, lock them away. Like Beanie Babies, someday I can pay for my kids' college education. And why were we about to face a horrifying shortage of Stone Cold action figures? Oh, apparently he was away from the company a bit between 2004 and 2005, but if that was potentially the last figure, how did they end up with 2 more Steve Austin figures that year? And even more the next year, including this fun little edit where instead of Unleash Hell, we're unleashing Austin? In fact, there wasn't any kind of lull in the amount of Steve Austin product being pumped out, which, after seeing the Steve Austin Daisy Dukes edition, maybe they should have. Ah well, it's wrestling. We can't expect anyone to stick to any kind of retirement stipulation. Number 6, hats off. I always loved when The Rock zinged John Cena for always coming back with a new t-shirt in a different color. He said, "You run around here looking like a big fat bowl of Fruity Pebbles." And then John Cena went on to actually become a spokesperson for the brand. Classic. Now, some guys lend themselves to good merchandise. I may have poked a little fun at Steve's Stunner Incorporated shirt, but that was a rare miss from a guy who produced Austin 316, Stone Cold University, Blood from a Stone. Oh, okay. Maybe not that one. But yeah, he had a pretty good batting average, and it doesn't hurt when your gimmick is black and silver, kicking ass, drinking beers, snakes, skulls, etc. But when your gimmick is being the world's toughest vegan, that makes things a tad more difficult. And yeah, they knocked it out of the park when Daniel Bryan first got big with his first Yes shirt. And things trailed off from there, a little less cool with the No shirt, and then we've got the Steph shirt. Anybody own this one? Let me know in the comments section, any big Stephanie McMahon fans out there. Okay, from there we've got the Daniel Bryan is a goat narrative. He does have a beard, probably not as cool as skulls or rattlesnakes and middle fingers, but you work with what you've got. And then you got this hat. Yeah. Your eyes are not deceiving you. This is a Daniel Bryan hat with a hairy brim. Why? Because Daniel had a beard, so your hat should have one as well. You usually see the talent wearing their merchandise during the show as a way to market it, but you never saw Daniel wearing this idiotic thing. Might have made more sense to steal a page from like Duck Dynasty, market something like this. Ah well, I guess it could have been worse. They did make a hat that makes it look like his wife's decapitated head. Number 7. Merry Christmas. The WWE has a long history of embracing the Christmas season with special holiday-themed programming, often blending festive cheer with its signature style of sports entertainment. Over the years, we've seen such Yuletide events as Randy Orton reefing and wrecking David Otunga, Stone Cold Steve Austin earning himself a permanent spot on the naughty list by dropping Santa Claus with a stunner, Santa's evil brother Santa Claus proving that even fictitious siblings have a price for the $1 Million Man. Mick Foley got to live out his jolly old St. Nick fetish in front of the U.S. military. Alberto Del Rio hit Santa with his car, making this like the 20th worst thing he's ever done. Stacy Keibler and Tori Wilson proved their lactose tolerance by squaring off in an eggnog match. WWE leans into the fun and lighthearted aspects of the holiday season, often ending these episodes with a feel-good moment of the good guys triumphing in the spirit of giving, just like baby Jesus intended. Of course, the WWE hasn't shied away from holiday-themed merchandise. You can find WWE ugly sweaters, nutcrackers, inflatable championship belt-wearing Santa Clauses, and it wouldn't be Christmas without some WWE tree ornaments. But as weird as a fiend snowman may be, it isn't quite weird enough to make it into today's list. No, for this entry we have to go all the way back to WCW and their line of holiday ornaments. Let's see what we've got here. There's Kevin Nash climbing into a chimney. Ooh, watch that quad, buddy. Here's the Hulkster bearing gifts, Thunder Mixers, obviously. And Goldberg appears to be naked, holding his sack. Holding a sack. Ugh, bag of toys, not a sack. Who in the name of World Championship Wrestling thought that this was a good idea? I get that Bill used to wrestle in short tights, but every one of these ornaments has the guy in some kind of Santa attire. Upon further investigation, it appears that Goldberg is in fact wearing tiny red tights, which is something I don't recall him ever doing during his professional wrestling career. Although I guess it's possible the bag is somehow wrapping around his body. And we know the man isn't opposed to dressing up as Kris Kringle. He literally played him in a movie. Oh, speaking of movies, he was also in The Longest Yard, and they constantly made jokes about how big his, spear is, just making this ornament all the more disturbing. So, what's the message here? If Santa comes down the chimney looking like that, we could have some chestnuts roasting on an open fire? Maybe he might burn his North Pole off? It's a good way to damage a package. Alright, that's enough jolly old St. Dick jokes. Well, there's our list. Did we leave out any weird wrestling toys and merchandise? If so, please leave them in the comments section below. Also, if you enjoyed this, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and super kick that notification bell. Until next time, I'm Senior Siete for 7 Wrestling saying bye-bye.